Good evening and welcome to the limited Adhesion GT3 League. We're at the Red Bull Ring, penultimate race of the season. So it is the business end and a familiar track on the iRacing service. And once again, I'm joined by Random Dave. How was your holiday, Dave?
It's the Isle of Wight, right? So, limited. We visited the Pooh Museum. What else did we do? Yeah, Pooh Museum. Don't remember anything else. It was pretty mundane.
Oh, we should check that one out if I hit the Isle of Wight. So, the top split in the GT3s, it's almost a two-horse race as we've known so far, but Oli Walker's kind of leapt ahead in the last race from what I remember, quite surprisingly, because we did have high hopes for Evan. He was going to make a last-minute challenge over the last half of the season, but the last race Oli did pretty well. But,
we'll
see.
And unfortunately, I owe you a tenner, don't I, if he wins the championship?
Not to me. I'll put it towards a charity of your choice.
All right.
Well, put that on record. So, as we can see,
very nice. Had it been the other way around, I would have just taken the money.
And on that note, Oli Walker's on 248 points ahead of 225, which Epson Conception has in his pocket. David Line in third, ahead of Stephen Maxwell and Don Parker in fifth. Those have been the mainstays this season. Ollie Ettridge in 6th, Mark Innes in 7th, and Greening and Shaw Miller round out the top 10. I wonder if we'll see Rob Miller appear, because the A-Team do have a last-minute charge to kind of get Oli Walker on his solo stint out of the team standings. We'll see how it fares in a moment. Damon Mitchell and Mark Zef close at the Club 1500 split on 256 and 237 points respectively. Dan Hill probably got the third place cemented unless Simon Garral makes an appearance in the last round or so. Chris White in 5th, ahead of Steve Pepper, Rich Meesters, Stu Gerber, Joe Barlow and Lewis McManaman, who should be joining us on the grid also. James Pepper there as well. I think he's starting to make more regular appearances as well.
You sat Stott. There was a sat Stott.
Some type of stop. Give me flashbacks of the QRS boys.
Isn't it supposed to be Sam Stott? I
believe it is. Yeah. 4X Racing well out in front on 380 points. That's Evan and Stephen. With Alpha Esports on 248, ahead of the A-Team on 226. But Ollie is at a disadvantage if the A-Team do decide to gang up in this race. I think Rob Miller might be hitting the grid this one. We'll see. Ahead of the Wizards and Risky Time Racing guys. And Club 1500, I think it's going to be yet again the DSR double. It is indeed, but it is pretty close there. 322 to 303 points for Orange and White respectively, with 722 Motorsports well secured the third position in that split. There's still quite a number of Club 1500 guys showing up towards the business end of the season as well, so certainly points means prizes or just glory in our limited adhesion league, so to speak. Is this a favourite track of yours, Dave?
It is, but I mean, this Dom hates it, doesn't he? I don't know why I've got a soft spot for it. I think when I started playing F1 2002, which was like the one of the first. I think there was the Cramons or F1 game Cramons. I didn't play those. The F1 2002 I played absolutely loads, and this track for some reason I just did thousands of laps in it. Years ago, that was 20 years ago now.
Yeah, and as you've seen, David Line took the pole position in 1 minute 30.036 ahead of Stephen Maxwell. Oli Walker down in third, Rob Miller making a reappearance in fourth, and Evan down in fifth. Damon Mitchell took the pole position in the Club 1500 ahead of James Pepper all the way up into the lofty heights of second place in that split, ahead of Chris White, Steve Pepper, Dan Hill down in 5th, and Mark Zef down in 6th. So he's got a lot of work to do over the course of the race to kind of catch up to Damon. That's going to make things interesting.
So yeah, surprising that that Ollie is third on the grid. I guess I didn't see what the gaps back from Dave to Steve and then Ollie. Is it all pretty level?
Yeah, but it's not a one lap wonder. It's a full 45-minute race or so, and off tracks might be coming into play at this circuit as Mr. Line backs up and gets away on the corner as expected. Barney waves his green flag and away they go. Let's see if we're going to get a clean turn 1.
Well, Ollie's already made up a position there.
Oh, and is that's looked like one of the peppers that went into the barrier, rather early into the barrier in fact, because it didn't even reach turn 1.
He must have had a touch for that, surely.
Yeah, Walker trying to make a move around the outside as he going to turn technically 2, but they call it 3. Line covers it off well. Maxwell's down into 3rd, already a second behind. Evan Conception made a move on Miller. I've seen just in the background there, Dan Hill managed to get up the positions into 2nd place in split, so he's moved up 3 places. It's a good start from him. Not many overtaken places in the midsection, unless you get your nose in front, like we see Dan Hill there and Chris White. That was a very close racing between those guys.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good for overtaking, really. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've kind of seen overtakes happen in most places. You know, I guess a lot of it's down to having a little mistake or wobble, right? But
yeah, nice onboard camera shot there behind Dan Hill. And the jet black livery of Chris White as they go into the penultimate corner and into the home stretch. Very close behind are the 2 DSR guys, going side by side. So it's Line from it's Line, Walker, Maxwell, Conception, Miller in the top split, with Mitchell, Hill, White, Zef, Pepper, Barlow, Mises, McManaman in row, and that's a DSR off in the background. That looks like Zef. It is indeed Zef, car 999. That's not a good start for him because obviously he's to keep in contention with Mitchell. Hopefully it hasn't picked up too much damage. We're going to see a replay of that. Yeah, on cold tyres, upsets the car on the curb.
Yeah, it's a bit of unlucky sort of secondary sort of wobble there.
Yeah, in 3rd gear as well. Perhaps it would have been good to have a bit of engine braking at that point for the race. So David Line, a little bit of a train forming up, but he seems to have the corners fairly glued on.
Yeah, it's all staying pretty close with. I mean, that's the entirety of the top split, isn't there? There's no others there. That's just all of them there in that gaggle. So not a lot of top split drivers, but they're all together.
Yeah, it makes it for a good competition. Yeah, all in one shot.
I mean, Rob's not out of it right at the back there.
No, definitely not. And I think he's probably doing the wise thing, just hanging back, see how the others progress.
Ollie looks like it's gonna happen. Well, it looks like Dave's gonna have to defend there.
Yeah, taking the right line there. Just stick it on that apex. Can't really do too much. And deep. Lines went wide. And he's going to be under attack from Maxwell and Conception as well. Let's see what happens.
He's going for it down the inside there. That's a tricky place to do a move
around the
there.
outside. Yeah, not a bad job.
It's not easy for off tracks though here. Which is weird because on some of the corners you just allowed massive amounts of curb. But yeah, for some reason you can really clock them up around there.
Yeah, and if you don't get the off track, it's into the kind of gravel trap as well.
It's almost like you're allowed to use so much off track that you kind of, it's just a little bit strange trying to gauge really how much you can have, because you're like there, you're just completely off the track.
Yeah, and as you said, that corner actually specifically, you can actually get slowed down pretty easy if you do go a little bit have too much pace and drift off a little bit. So now Oli Walker leads the way as we see a replay of the start this is what happened to James Pepper. I think he just got nudged by his teammate, what it looks like. It's miraculously bounces back out and kind of
tap.
Yeah, just got caught out at the start. I think Damon was feeling a little bit sorry about that.
It's unfortunate as well because it's a little tap, but just the angle that it got him just sent him off there.
White slammed on the anchors only to get overtaken by Dan Hill, who reacted quickest. This is Line's getaway start.
Yeah, Oli just drove straight past Maxwell there. I do feel a bit like I'm not an expert about these rolling starts, but it does feel like you're often disadvantaged starting second. As a third place guy can just follow first place through.
Yeah, that's a nice onboard shot from Oli Walker. Bit of tactics going on there between Evan and Stephen, perhaps. Seems like a very easy move around the outside. This is Mark's view going into turn 3. They've gone 3 wide almost. And that's how he made up a couple of points.
I wouldn't say team tactics there, but I say when you're kind of teammates, you do. If it looks like somebody's kind of half done the move, then you just give it, don't you? Like as opposed to trying to hang on.
Yeah. There's Joe Barlow and Rich Meesters in 5th and 6th position respectively. Keen to see if Rich might be able to make up a few places. He's in a good Lamborghini car for this track. Oh, Dan Hill and White battling for position. White takes the inside, but I think Hill's going to have the run on him. These guys seem to have been battling for the past 5 laps almost consistently. Dan Hill's probably going to get the better inside line.
You can hang it around the outside there.
Yeah.
Well, look, Line's really defending against Conception there.
Yeah. Ooh. He's going to try around the outside.
Yeah, they're done.
Maxwell's got the job done.
Line had to let him through.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. You're looking ahead, but also going to have to look in your rear mirrors, and Evan's going to get his nose here. In front, David Line makes it stick round the outside just. Very good racing between those guys, and Rob Miller just lurking in the background. I bet he's thinking, come on Dave, push on.
Well, he's probably just happy for like loads of chaos happening in front of him, really. And Ollie's not going away at all. Yeah, everybody's hanging on to Oli there, so...
Yeah, a bit of a slipstream fest as Line goes to the inside to protect the curb. Is Evan going to get a run? It's going to be close.
Looks like he might have it.
It is a bit of a drag race.
And, it looks like 2 moves almost happening here.
Yeah, Maxwell's on the back of Walker. Oh, they're going side by side. That's going to slow Line right down.
Yeah, you have to. Well, Line's lost a couple of positions there, but also Maxwell.
Yeah, it's all kicking off. Maxwell's challenging Walker for lead round the outside. Great move. Let's see if he can hold on to this position.
Why is he flashing his lights?
Yeah, he's gone back to those tactics. We've seen that in seasons gone by.
It's odd, isn't it? Because obviously Line was leading. Looked like Oli was a situation where Oli was going to get past and then just go off, but he got past Line and then he started to go back himself. Maybe being in first is cursed at the moment.
Yeah, it could be. We'll soon find out. It's now Maxwell takes the lead. Rob Miller getting a nice run. It's great. It's a great feeling when you get that right. Just avoid the curbs on the outside. Gives you a nice run up to turn 3. Will Line protect?
I think that's the line that Line's had to take most laps.
Yeah, it's getting used to it, yeah. So still about a second and a half, 2 seconds separates all 5 of the top split. The line should keep in touch with Conception. It has dropped to 0.8. In the Club 1500, Mitchell is 2.5 seconds out in front of White and Hill. And we've got Pepper and Barlow, Meisters, McManaman, Zef and James Pepper all still on the lead lap. It's eternal battle between White and Dan Hill. These guys seem to have been pretty close throughout the season. Dan Hill's probably had the better results and better luck, I would say. Dan just going slightly wide. But why not take the off track if it's going to keep you in touch? It's fairly even Stevens with the lap times in the top split. Hill's setting a good lap there, solid for the Club 1500. Now it's Evans' turn to try and bite at the heels of Oli Walker, and if they start battling, that's going to allow Maxwell to shoot off into the distance. Great run. Oh, and Dan almost had a good run there, just a little bit too hot into the corner. Still a bit more work to do for Mark Zef, but he is catching some of these guys after that spin. Now Dave, do you think there's a preferred car for this track?
I haven't looked into it hugely, but I think the Lambo and the Audi seem to go pretty well and are pretty level. It's what I think Ollie told me. Maybe that's a different track. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think you want those nimble, lighter weight cars. Zef makes a move on McManaman. McManaman doesn't seem to want to challenge that, but Maxwell setting 30.3, a couple of tenths ahead of Walker and Conception. So the gap is increasing ever so slightly as Evan just had a little bit of a wobble.
Yeah, Maxwell's doing what Ollie and Line failed to do when they were out in the lead, by getting away from everybody. He's a second away now.
Yeah, now Walker's going on the defensive, as we've seen Steve Pepper set his fastest lap of the race so far, and Barlow, who's behind him, rising to the occasion as well, setting his fastest lap. Oh, it's a late move down the inside, and is Evan going to make it sticky? It does indeed. Well done, that's a good move. But he's went slightly wide on the exit. That turns to the inside. I think Ollie's going to have nowhere to go. Yeah, good positioning by Evan, making the most of the track.
Now Line's catching them up.
Yeah, let's not count out Line and Miller, because this battling is bringing them into the equation.
But at the same time, Maxwell's now a second and a half away.
Yeah, it's really pulled out in front from that battling. You can see Line's just putting himself in the mirrors.
It's all about turn 1 though, to be able to do a good enough job at that to get a run in turn 1, turn 2, turn 3.
Yeah. As we see, Damon Mitchell has what appears to be a scheduled stop. It is an early one. It is within the kind of confines of the scheduled pit stop parameters, but yeah, it's called in an early one, which I wouldn't have expected, but perhaps he's got an alternative strategy. As Line dives down the inside, he's gonna get it on exit, I think, just. Yeah, Line's gonna have to stick in behind the 18 sandwich.
I'm surprised that Ollie didn't cover that off, but he's probably... Line doesn't do a lot of overtakes, does he? So he probably just thought, no, he'll just sit there.
Yeah, it was good reactions there from Line to kind of spot an opening. So Damon Mitchell out of the pits and in 8th position. That's promoted White to first. As we see, Rich Meisters, Joe Barlow and Mark Zef all fighting for position, so this is going to be a good little battle. Mark Zef, I suspect, is probably the quicker of the three, but I don't think they'll be too keen. Oh, and Joe Barlow just gets slightly wide on that corner, just taking a bit of the gravel, slows him down, which means he takes advantage. That is now promoted Mark to 5th. He'll be keen to get ahead of Rich Meesters ASAP. In fact, okay, so Mark's now went into the pit, so they're calling an early pit strategy, possibly reacting to Damon Mitchell.
It's another move in the top 5 here for Rob past Oli.
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic of Oli to lose a couple of positions in quick succession.
There's also been so many. There's only 5 drivers in the top split. I swear there's been more overtakes than in a like a 10-player field, right?
Yeah, it's great to see. It makes although it might be low numbers in the top split, but it's definitely exciting racing, especially with them being generally quite close.
They're all together still, apart from Steve, who's sailed away. There it is, see him in the distance.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, Oli was leading this not long ago. Now he's 5th.
Yeah, it's all change.
And Line looks very close to Evan now as well.
Yeah, you're right. He's still in contention. But will he sacrifice first place by challenging for second in the shape of Evan Conception? Let's find out over the next couple of laps or so. He's already made a move on Oli Walker. Miller setting his fastest lap at 30.5, so and that was with the overtake at turn 3. So he's definitely got a bit of pace in him. Similar pace for White and Hill, only 2/10 in it. Pepper setting a very nice lap there, 31.3. So he's still in 3rd position.
Yeah, so White's doing well first there. Has White had a win yet this season?
No, he's had a couple of unlucky events in this season, but close but no cigar. So could this be the one? We'll soon find out. Of course, we've got Mitchell, who's took the early stop. He was a couple of seconds ahead. David Line taking a nice.
It's in the gravel.
Oh, he's going to take advantage of this. This surely going to get an inside path. And parks it on the apex. Not much Evan can do there.
Let's see if Line can start chasing down Maxwell.
Yeah, 3.2 seconds. It's still attainable. Of course, Rob Miller's right behind Evan as well. I'm curious to see how Rob's lap times are going to compare if he gets a bit of fresh air in front of him.
Well, he's looking pretty. He's lurking there for a move on Evan now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Rob's got a lot of pace on him. He's just not been able to kind of show it. Oli Walker's gone really wide. So looks like Oli Walker might be struggling a little bit. He's dropped a bit of time to the others.
Yeah, difficult to know why, really. He's in the same car, isn't he? Probably with the same VRS setup as Line and Rob are using.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a track that you can really fuel save too effectively over a short amount of time. Is Evan going to make a last minute ditch dive? No, he doesn't. Probably the wise thing to do, because we do want to catch up to Stephen Maxwell. Zef out of the pit sets his fastest lap of 31.0, which proves that getting a bit of clean air can make all the difference.
Yeah, I mean the pace is all just a bit unpredictable. I mean, Line seems to be doing a similar lap time to Maxwell, but you think, Evan's starting to go back, but all of a sudden Evan's on Line again.
Yeah. So 130.4 from Maxwell, 30.6 fastest lap so far for Line. Yeah, there's not much to separate them. Just a couple of tenths at best. The gap between White and Hill in first and second respectively in Club 1500 is down to about half a second. Pepper holding on to third position. He's got a decent sized gap to Meesters, who sets his fastest laps, 31.6. And Barlow and Maneman are not too far behind him. So Rob Miller, he might just be content to kind of sit behind Evan for the time being. As we jump to the front of the Club 1500, Dan Hill still on the tail of Chris White. It's kind of very hard to separate these guys, really similar pace. It might just take a mistake or a pit strategy call to separate them. Of course, they've got a bit of clean air ahead of them, so that will allow them to push on and hopefully get ahead of Mitchell come when they take their pit stops. Miller looks to overtaking Conception. I wonder if that's a slowdown.
Yeah, it was slowdowns into the last corner.
Yeah, did the right thing, get to the other side of the track. It's going to take another off track there. So that's promoted Miller to third. It'll be interesting to see if Miller can now pull away from these two, because it looks like Evan's going to try and make a move into turn 3. He's going to slow these guys right down. Walker gets spooked a little bit. And moves back down into 5th position.
Yeah, I mean, Miller's already like 2 seconds away from them.
Yeah, so that gap between Maxwell and Line is kind of maintained around about 3.5 seconds, 3.6 seconds or so.
Yeah, it feels like now Line's got free of Evan. He's sort of now matching Maxwell's pace, but Maxwell's just doing good laps every single lap.
Yeah, consistency is the key, of course, and here he is. Yeah, good line through there. There's no need to take any off tracks at this stage of the race if you're well out in front. Nothing to gain from that.
30.3, and that's not even his fastest.
Yeah, solid lap times. This is David Line, Oli Walker behind him.
I think he missed a gear. I think he accidentally went up one or down one. Yeah, it sounded weird. He got his gears wrong. Have you ever sort of been changing down and then you know it's kind of just automatic most of the time? There's a move going on here.
Just a replay of
replay.
White and Hill going down the inside.
Nice.
But yeah, I have noticed the Lamborghini does have sometimes an issue with downshifting a little bit.
No, it's just my brain. Or maybe it's because I'm getting older. Like when I'm sort of changing down, I'm like, am I in second or first? I've kind of forgotten. I'll go down an extra one just in case, and then if you do that in the latest 79, you put it in neutral accidentally.
Yeah, so kind of a highlight reel of the overtakes between Dan Hill and White. Good close racing for the past 15 minutes or so, or essentially right from the start. This is Stephen Maxwell.
So a little
very close. Just making his presence known. But did make the move stick around the outside eventually.
Yeah, there was a tiny bit of contact there, which I think spooked Line a bit there. Made its back end go a bit wobbly.
That corner they just went through seems to last forever. It's like you can't get on the accelerator until you're sure you can get the car turned around. And this is Maxwell again. Same move. Holds it around the outside.
Oh, he got a little bit crossed up there. But it also just looks like these Audis just really good at going around the outside on these 2 corners.
Yeah, really well suited to the track. Evan trying to go down the inside. Yes, a whole host of overtakes, which is great to see at this track. A lot of battling between the guys. And of course, if you want to join us for next season, now is the time to sign up. You can join us in our Discord and get yourself hooked up with the admins and fill out your forms. We'd love to hear from you and join us next season. Damon Mitchell yet again behind Lewis McManaman. So he'll be looking to try and get ahead as quickly as possible because he knows Mark Zef has already taken his pit stop. This is a little bit of traffic for him. Look at that, Maxwell sitting at 30.2, fastest lap of the race. Miller setting his fastest lap of 30.5. So Maxwell just building that gap just a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly lies not. Yeah, it's pretty far from closing it, and Rob's in fact catching line there a little bit. Yeah. But Evans still 2 seconds back.
Yeah, nice little battle going on here. Let's see if Lewis can hold James Pepper off. Let's see who's going to take the inside. James might get there. Oh, he just runs short of track. Might get a run though. Oh, and Lewis gets a little bit too much curb, disrupts the car, and James takes advantage of that. James, of course, he was looking pretty well in the Lotus 79 here as well. So this might be a good strong track for James. As Meisters and Pepper were both in the pits and now exiting, so those guys are very close to each other for position. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys kind of battle on for the rest of the race. About 18 minutes left or so. It sounded like the Lambo had a bit of a dodgy gear change there coming up the corner. Walker sitting his fastest lap of 30.4. That gap has now came down between Maxwell and Line. It's now 3.6, so he's lost half a second.
Yeah, I just looked at it actually, and it looked like Line and Miller just both did really fast laps. You know, a tenth off the fastest so far, and Maxwell did a reasonably okay lap. So yeah, I don't think he made a mistake. I think it was just a combination of sort of an average lap combined with some really good laps.
Yeah. I guess it's going to come down to how confident Maxwell's pit entrance is going to be, because that will be a little bit of time where they can kind of catch up a little bit. Of course, Miller's only a second behind Line. He seems... Whoa, and who's that? That's James off. James Pepper is off.
Where is he?
Where is it? That's a DSR. He's facing the wrong way around the track, I think, as well.
Gone to the shops.
Steve Pepper right behind Rich Meisters. Nice little battle going on. Maybe Steve just biding his time for the moment.
Fastest lap by Miller, yeah.
30.2. I knew he had a bit of pace on him. He just looked like he had some in him. So this is Dan Hill coming in from second in the Club 1500. Looks like White's out for a couple of laps or so. So this is Evan on Oli. Yeah, this is the second time Evan's made a move down the inside there. Earlier on in the race. Yeah, it's not gone quite right for Oli this time round.
No, but even in the position that he's in, like, could he win the championship this race? even with a fifth. Just need a fourth.
I guess. Yeah, I'm not
We got
too sure.
Stop just about. Seemed quite late.
You got it round. That's the main thing.
Okay.
Right, so that appears that Oli got a slowdown from going too wide. He didn't get a good exit out of turn 1 either. So, yeah, he just seems to be struggling, or I don't know, just something. It's not up to his usual high standards. Oh, and that's Lewis McManaman off into the gravel. I won't even bother pronouncing that corner. It is turn 5 or so. So a little bit of a gap building now between Miller and Conception.
Yeah, I mean, Line and Miller are very slowly catching Maxwell.
Yep.
Miller's catching Line.
Yeah, Joe Barlow's now in the pits from second. Although Mitchell has overtaken him, probably. Steve Pepper's possibly thinking about making a move on Rich Meisters. He thinks about it, has a look. Not enough space on the track, which I think was a wise decision, but he might get a good run coming into the home straight. They're both going a little bit wide. Very similar lap times between those guys as well. Just a 10th in it. And Joe Barlow's going to join this battle in a second as he comes out of the pits. Of course, Pepper and Meisters will still have their pit stop to take as Maxwell now increases the pressure on second and third by making his fastest lap. Conception also responded to that as well. Joe will be hoping these two pit fairly soonish. He doesn't want to get stuck behind them. There's White's still out in front of Club 1500. So he's still to pit. Yeah, so this is what happened to Lewis McManaman. He just misjudged where the corner was meant to be. Yeah, the braking point. This is kept out of the barriers.
Have you ever? I mean, a few times even on a track that I've been around for hours and hours. Sometimes I just forget where I am and just think the next turn is just a different one. Happened to me doing go-karting once, and I thought a really tight hairpin was a kind of a flat-out corner, and. I wouldn't say I had a bad crash, but I got quite a telling off that way.
One to remember.
Another 30.2, really consistent 30.2 there. Oh, hang on, is that a fast snap by Line?
Yeah, it is indeed 30.1. So he's responded to Maxwell's fastest lap. Close that gap now back down to 3.8 or so. James Pepper on a recovery drive now in 6th. We'll see how he fares when the pit stops shake out. He's still ongoing in this battle with McManaman. And his dad is not too far behind either. Whoa, and Rich Meisters getting it all wrong. And that just collided with Joe Barlow and put Steve Pepper in the gravel trap. That was really unfortunate there. Just not much any driver could do about that.
Yeah, if you just catch that gravel, it can do odd things, yeah.
Yeah, that is going to increase the gap for Lewis McManaman and James Pepper on those guys. So they have to take advantage. They're possibly going to go into the pits. Both go side by side into the pits. Wow. Yeah, it's going to be neck and neck as they come out, hopefully. Rich Meisters goes round for another lap. Suspect with only 10 minutes remaining, these guys will be coming in about now. So, except Miller has another tank, a bit of fuel in his tank. which I guess he kind of gained from just sitting behind line.
Well, I say that I've heard that he's he does that for some reason. He just really sips fuel, does Rob. It always seems to have an extra half a lap on line, and sometimes that means one less lap, right?
Right.
But he was very close to line when line pitted there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they switch positions after the stops.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Steve Pepper and Joe Barlow still battling away. Joe Barlow just gets the front, but I think Steve is maybe he opts not to get the run, sticks behind him, but Oli Walker is just behind them. I believe these guys will be pitting at the end of this lap. Here's a replay of the side-by-side action going into the pit lane. Hopefully Lewis didn't get any penalty for the wide entrance.
Yeah, I just don't think he knew he was pitting there, did he?
Yeah, but I'm surprised he didn't accelerate up to the yellow cone, but it is what it is. Yeah, so Oli Walker's probably going to have to react to a couple of these guys now heading into the pits. In fact, Oli himself goes into the pits.
Yeah, so he really didn't go that much longer than others.
Yeah, so Miller into the pits also, of course. It looks like White comes in from the lead of the Club 1500 to take his scheduled stop. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys shake out. Of course, Stephen Maxwell did have a few seconds, about 4 seconds ahead of line. That looks set to possibly increase slightly on Miller, so it is about 5 now, it becomes 5 seconds. So again, good second or so from there. Line right in the tail of Miller.
So Miller has done it in the pits.
Yeah, Walker seems to have got ahead of Conception.
That's by going 1 extra lap.
Yeah. So still a good couple of battles on here in the top split. Yeah, Rich Mises just gets on the gravels, chucks them out. Not much time or space to react to that. We've all been there. It kind of Joe Barlow got away with it almost. Minimal damage anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you can call that an unsafe rejoin because it was just kind of a spin, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, the car's momentum kind of threw him out into the track.
It looks like Line wants to get his second back.
I think it does, judging by the kind of aggressive nature of the car. Bragging rights within the 18. Of course, Miller did look pretty quick.
Line have the fastest lap at the moment, though?
He does indeed. So he does have that under his cap. But Miller did look quick as well.
Well, I mean, the fastest lap by about a couple of hundredths of a second or something.
Yeah. I just noticed in the Club 1500, White has came out of the pit lane. But I believe Mitchell has dropped down a little bit, so something happened to Mitchell. Now there's a 9.6 second gap between White and Hill, so something must have happened to Hill between then. Zef is now in third, ahead of, most importantly, ahead of Mitchell. So something has happened there. Miller starting to just get a bit of lead ahead of Line. This is Steve Pepper in the pits. Something happened to him. So Dan Hill protecting that second place ahead of Mark Zef. There's only 5 minutes or so remaining. He will want to try and grab as many points as possible. Of course, Mark Zef in that two-way battle for the championship.
really close laps between the top 5 there, really. You know, all the way first to 5th.
Yeah. Not much to separate them. Conception just dropping back slightly. So that's fascinating. The top 2 in this kind of championships are now in the bottom 2 in the race. As Mark Zef looks to make a move on Dan Hill into turn 1. Dan's going to try protect that inside line. He's going to forfeit run.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying you can overtake anywhere. Like, you're not really into turn 1. It's too fast. Just got to concentrate on getting a good exit to do it in turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely right. The gap between Miller and line is fluctuating between 0.3 and 0.5 as we see what happened to Steve Pepper. It looks like in the penultimate corner, just lighten up the rears. And I guess
I thought it was just a stylish pit entry. I thought it was just.
I wonder if that kind of penalised him for a kind of an unsafe pit entrance or something like that. And rears are very hot indeed. He's decided to take them to the pits and cool off. His teammate Mark Zef. Oh, look at that. Line is set at 30.188. Another fastest lap of the race. So that's putting the pressure and upping the ante on Miller. As Zef just looked to make a move on Hill. White setting his fastest lap. He's got a 12-second lead ahead of Hill and Zef.
I thought Line was going to have a go then, but he just kind of dropped back a little bit.
Yeah, that was a strange one. Zef still trying to find a way around Dan Hill. I think they've kind of forfeited first place with all that battling.
So White looks definitely nailed on for his first win.
Yeah, just needs to. Whoa! And that's Dan Hill just kind of getting it a little bit wrong, coming out of turn 3, collided with Mark Zef. It's Mark Zef crabbing. I think he might have a bit of a steering issue. He's going to have to possibly come into the pits and grab a fast repair. The only good thing is there's about 17 seconds or so to Mitchell behind. Maxwell response 30.1 dead. It's like cat and mouse with the fastest lap here. Appears like both of these cars might have a bit of damage.
Slow lap from Line there though, he's just dropped back again.
Yeah, it's 1.2 second away. You can actually see that gap, it's extended.
A slight off or traffic or something.
Yeah.
Well, is this the last lap or is this penultimate lap?
I think it might be the penultimate one. Still, you can get round fairly quick around this track. Zef opting to pit. It's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in terms of Mitchell. In fact, Mitchell's just in the background. Yeah, this is what happened between Hill and Zef. Yeah, just got on the curb, threw him out into the path of Zef. It's sad to see, but there's not much Danny could have done about that, really.
Yeah, it wasn't like it from aggression, was it? Just
yeah, it's just the momentum of the car on top of the acceleration. Barlow setting his fastest lap and he's moved up into 5th position. It's been a quiet one from Joe. Meester's up into 4th as well, so they're doing fairly well, those two. It appears as though nobody has actually retired from the race, which is great to see. Everyone stays to the end. I suspect we might be on the white flag lap now.
Yeah, it must be, surely.
Slow lap from White in first, 32.5. I guess he's just taking it, strolling around, making sure he gets there in one piece.
Rob's about to reach some traffic here, which Line's going to be interested in.
Yeah, this might hold Miller up. Maxwell.
And he's, I think Rob's reached him in the worst part as well, really.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Just has to hold on. Let's see if he can get a good run out of this corner. Might allow McManus went wide and let them through, which is great to see. He's realised the top split guys are coming through.
That's given Line a bit of a run there, but it's a difficult last sector to do it in.
Yeah, too late. He's looking. I think
tried to scare him a bit.
Covered it off. So Stephen Maxwell takes the win at Red Bull Ring. Congratulations, Stephen. That's been a long time coming. Good 6-second lead from the others as Miller takes second ahead of Line. Walker takes fourth ahead of Conception in fifth position. That was a good result for those guys. And here comes Chris White. Finally gets a win in the GT3s after many struggles and bad luck. He's absolutely ecstatic. Flashes lights at Barney. Well done, Chris.
Well, I mean that's Maxwell with his first win, right?
Yeah.
And White of the first win of the season, or
in terms of the GT3s. In fact, Maxwell gives him a celebratory bump there as well. So Dan Hill comes in second. I think he's got a bit of a damaged car, but well done, Dan. Good to see consistent performance throughout the season as well. Stephen Maxwell will be delighted. White returns the favour. I guess a good way to celebrate their debut wins. I did say at the start of the season that Maxwell would get a win this season, and I'm thankful that that prediction did come right.
Yep.
That's appears that Damien Mitchell just ends in third position or so. So the results, and Stephen Maxwell takes top position in the top split ahead of Rob Miller, David Line, Oli Walker and Evan Conception. Only 9.8 seconds separating those guys for a 45-minute race, which is very close. White taking the win in the Club 1500 ahead of Dan Hill. That was a 20-second gap in total, so that was quite a long one. Ahead of Damien Mitchell, Rich Meesters grabbing fourth, ahead of Joe Barlow, Lewis McManaman, James Pepper, Steve Pepper and Mark Zef. A couple of laps down because of that crash towards the end. Still showing that dodgy helmet that Oli Walker's got. Oli Walker out in front, 268. I think, and I don't count on this, but I think that might have sealed the win for the championship ahead of Evan, barring any potential.
I feel a bit like somebody with more information should be, in our ear telling us whether that's the case. I think we do. I think we do know, though, don't we?
Yeah. So if it is, congratulations, Oli. It's again defending your title. We'll hope you're back next season, and hopefully the others can step up to the plate and give you a challenge. The likes of Evan finishing second, and of course Line finishing third as well. In the Club 1500, it's going to go right down to the wire. Damien Mitchell out in front ahead of Mark Zef. So it's still all achievable for Mark Zef, although he's going to have some positions go his way. Dan Hill pretty much cemented third, so I think that's confirmed ahead of White. Simon Garral, Rich Meesters in sixth, made up a position ahead of Steve Pepper. So those two actually have a battle for bragging rights between 6th and 7th as well. Joe Barlow made a position up into 8th, and Lewis as well made a position, so congratulations to them. As we head to the final race, which I believe is at Road Atlanta. In the championship standings, 4X Racing out in front, so I think they really have won the championship by now, ahead of Alpha Esports and the A team. Let's see if Rob does appear for the final race of the season. Still possible for the A team to overtake Oli's one-man band Alpha Esports, with the Wizards and Risky Time not appearing in quite a while. But of course, if you think you've got what it takes to challenge these top split guys, join us, and let's see what you can do. In the Club 1500, DSR and DSR Orange and DSR White are neck and neck going into the final race. Only 14 points separating those guys, so I'm excited to see what they can do. So yeah, all eyes are peeled when we reach the final race. 722 Motorsports and 289 have cemented that position as well in third place. What did you make of the race, Dave?
I thought it was good to see. It was good to see a couple of new winners, and yeah, it was a really interesting battle in the top 5 and the top split, all the way down really. But yeah, lots of overtakes. I don't know what Dom's saying. It's a great track. He's talking rubbish.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you there. Maybe Dom has some kind of mental scarring from an endurance race or something.
Or maybe
like
just something happened to him there, maybe unrelated to racing.
Yeah, point to the corner, Dom. Which one was it? But yeah, that wraps things up here at the Red Bull Ring. We hope you can join us for the final race of the season, which we look forward to in a couple of weeks' time. So from us here, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Dave.
No.
See you next time.
Cheers.